Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome into this moment of spiritual education with Aadfedbea. Um, in this particular segment of the educational videos, we are going to be talking about relationships. Relationships of all type. Call it what you want: friendship, lovers, courtship, family relationships, career, any and everything, okay? So, this will be part one to a multi part series. And I want to give you a moment as well to go grab a pen and paper and come right back so we can get into it. Now that you are back, let's get into the question of the day. How do your relationships, the relationships that you choose to be in and be a part of, affect your life and your spirituality? So, the number one answer that I want to give to that question is that the relationships that you choose are a pure reflection of what it is that you are attracting from the inside out, consciously and subconsciously. Okay? Now, the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful tool, I'll say, that we have as human beings living on this plane, existing in this lifetime, is our power of choice, okay? Our lives, our day to day activities are made up of decisions that we make from small to large. When I wake up, what time will I wake up today? What is the first thing that I do, when I decide to get out of bed? What will I put on today? Where will I go today? What things on my to do list will I choose to do? Will I choose to omit or postpone until tomorrow? The entirety of your day is made of choices: what you choose to eat, how you choose to feel, okay? So the same thing applies to when we choose who's in our lives. Now, the beautiful thing about having that sense of choice is that you can change your mind. Some of you that may be led to this conversation, you're being led here today because there may be relationships that you are choosing to be a part of right now that no longer serve you. And if you take the concept and the understanding that every person that is around me in my world, in my life, is reflecting back to me some sort of energy that I embody or I am holding on to or that I portray in one way or the other, and there's something that you see that you do not like, baby love, this is your call to choose differently, okay? Now, yes, sometimes it may be hard to accept or take a sense of accountability when you're looking at somebody and they're making horrible decisions. They're choosing to be maybe just a horrible person. And you may say, there's no way, me being who I am, me being who I am, that I could be, attracting this caliber of person or attracting a person that carries on in this type of energy. But when you take a deep subconscious dive, okay, and you take it with the accountability in mind as well too, sometimes we have to admit and realize that we subconsciously attract people because of what we are used to, okay? If there are any underlying hurts, traumas that have been projected onto you through relationships in your life, especially when you speak about the family dynamic, right? Because 0 to 8 years, we are sponges, we absorb everything, we see everything in our life as a sense of normalcy in which to measure everything by. So, for example, sometimes you may have um, a mother, right? You grow up with a mother who is very overbearing. Maybe the mother was married and you saw how that mother interacted with your father or her husband or whoever it may have been, right? And so, whereas there may not be anything within you that is saying, hey, I want a wife that is like my mother, that, talks crazy to me, or just is very overbearing, or whatever the case may be. On the flip side of that, if you don't denounce that, if you don't tell yourself with a conscious mind that we are not going to accept that, we are not going to attract that, we are going to make sure that we are aligning ourselves with the proper energy to make sure that that is not our reality. That is not, us. We don't eventually turn around and marry our trauma, if you will, right? If you have not made those conscious decisions to align with better, then sometimes there may still be a part of you that is attracting that. Now, whether that shows up in your world as you marrying somebody who's overbearing, or dating somebody who is the same, or you see it in other avenues and other relationships in your life, this is your call and your understanding to know that you can change that, okay? Anything from any relationship that is bringing a sense of uncomfortability into your world, or it is creating any type of vibration within you that just feels misaligned, okay? Because for some of you, it may be as grand as like, "Ugh, I'm miserable, I don't like who I'm around, who I'm with. These people make me feel away." For others of you, it could just be certain things that make you, kind of raise your eyebrow, that a person may say or do, or you notice there's an inconsistency in who this person is, right? This is your call and your time to go within. Ask yourself, what part of me has attracted a person that, reflects this type of behavior, or that does these things, that causes this imbalance within myself when I am connected to this person? What part of me has attracted that? And speaking to that part of you, what do you need? What do you need to feel, to experience, to understand, so that you can understand deeply that there is better? There is something different that will, keep us in the space to where peace, abundance, and love is our mainstream frequency. And nothing or nobody that is not operating in that same frequency can come attach itself to us, okay? Take the time, write down that question, give yourself an honest answer. Now, the last thing that I want to leave with you as I end this video is the understanding that when you are in between relationships, okay, for some of you, this video may find you at a time where you are in complete hermit mode. You're not really connecting with people. You may have just gotten out of some rough relationships. For some of you, you could be getting ready to go into hermit mode, especially if this video, triggers a conversation internally within you that lets you know it's time for that, okay? But wherever you may fall on this category, I want you to understand that any time that you have between relationships, it is for you to realign and reevaluate. I never want any person to feel that fate is completely in control when it comes down to who and what enters into your life. Absolutely not. Yes, fate has a lot to do with it. Yes, there is a lot of predestined energy that comes along with who we meet, what we experience, in this lifetime. But when it comes to relationships, you have the power, my love, okay? And if you have been in relationships where you have been completely dissatisfied, 0 out of 5 stars, would not recommend, okay? I want you to know that your time alone is meant for you to realign with what is for you, okay? I want you to practice being the friend that you need, being the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the manager, the whoever, right? That it is that you need, okay? I want you to see yourself embodying those energies. I want you to continue to denounce any belief that you've had previously or any experience, especially connected to your childhood, that did not reflect what you know that you can have with a sense of, again, love, abundance, and peace, right? I want you to do away with all of those ideas, everything that tells you, oh, it's impossible to find a person like this, like this, like this. No, because if you become that person, I guarantee you there will be at least one reflection that will find you, and you can share that frequency of peace, love, and abundance with. But even more than just that one reflection, there will be more people like kindred spirits that will begin to find each other. And especially with everything that's going on spiritually in the atmosphere and in the universe, right? But understand that as much as it is okay for you to take time to heal, to be to yourself, to be by yourself, right? To even reflect and be open about the things that hurt you, right? As to why you may have pulled away or gone into your hermit mode. Also understand that this time is for realignment. Anytime that you have alone, anytime that you are away from these relationships, it is for realignment and for you to become who and what you want to see in your life. Okay. Also, give yourself grace. Understand that a lot of the decisions that we make are a factor of what we saw in our childhood, right? And this is a part of the services I offer. I want to sit down with you. I want to get down to the nitty gritty of why you make certain choices, right? The things that you saw and that were reflected back to you at a stage where you were just absorbing everything and saying, that's normal, that's okay, that's right. Sometimes it wasn't right. Sometimes, even if it may have been normal and consistent in what you saw every day, it still wasn't what you were meant to align with for the remainder of your life. Okay. So let this be the part one for some of you to start shaking things up. Okay. Your relationships are very important to everything that you do. I don't even have to explain why. Okay. You choose what you choose because you choose it. Okay. But understand that if you know that you need to choose better, you first of all have the power to do so. You second of all have the right to do so. Okay? And let this lesson today be your step one to doing that. Pose these questions to yourself. Sit in a moment of stillness and allow your subconscious self or your inner child, whoever can answer this question, out of the multidimensional being that you are, whichever part of you needs to come forth and answer this question with full honesty, allow it to answer. And understand that whatever it is that you need, it's available. And you, first and foremost, can become that energy so that you can continue to attract more of it into your life from others as well too. All right. So please make sure you stay tuned for part two. Keep up with the page here. I'm going to keep posting this educational information. If you have any questions as well, spiritual questions that you would like to pose, to be answered or to be discussed through one of these videos, you can leave it in the comment or you can send the question to my email, aadfedbea@gmail.com. I love you so very much, and I will talk to you again soon.